Dear friends, so today is our next lecture on administrative law and also EU law, or actually would be properly to say retained in EU law, which is a very interesting topic, especially in the light of our previous lecture. So I think with today's lecture, it would be easy to see how actually the parliamentary sovereignty is upholding this country and the rule of law and the role of the judiciary in the light of all of that. So today we are going to cover briefly European Union, how it was formed, and a little bit on the history of it. And then obviously human rights and Human Rights Act in particular, and Equality Act, the main topics for today. And here with me today is Rosanna Carrieri. Hello, Rosanna.
Hi, good morning.
Rosanna is one of our tutors, and she's extremely experienced, dual qualified solicitor in England and Wales and Germany, who worked in Latin America, right, for some period of time?
Yes, in Brazil for a number of years.
In Brazil, and worked and used to study in Asia, right?
Correct, in Hong Kong. I worked in Shanghai for a short while and did my master's degree in Hong Kong.
Okay. So you basically have very vast experience, maybe except Africa. You work in all parts of this world. How do you find it from very general perspective that lawyers can work in very different jurisdictions?
I think it really depends on what sort of law you do, because it can be quite tricky to move around from one country to another. So if you're working in an area that is fairly international in itself, it makes it a little bit easier. So if you're working in some sort of maybe business law, commercial law, it's slightly easier to move to other countries because the principles are widely the same or similar, at least.
Yeah, and you work with intellectual property, right?
Yeah, intellectual property in general, also with the commercial side of things, so contracts relating to intellectual property and enforcement, yeah, also everything.
I also know that you have, in addition to all the studies that you've done in multiple jurisdictions, you also now undergo additional course, masters. You made the decision quite recently, and in this regard, I have a quite general question, because all the solicitors, we have this duty to continue our education, which is actually linked to the nature of law, which is changing constantly, especially in the common law jurisdictions, can be new decisions and things like that. So your recommendations for younger lawyers, how to comply with that requirement and what you think is important in this light?
I think it's generally important to keep up to date anyway, because you need to be able to advise your clients on the latest law. So you always need to make sure that you know when new law comes into effect. You need to know the latest case law. And obviously one way is simply to look at the related websites, government websites, court websites, to know what's the latest. Obviously, there are other possibilities. You can take additional courses depending on your role. There are paralegal courses by SYNOPSIS who are giving you the latest information. There are other courses you can take. I'm now starting to study at the University of Oxford to get more information about, well, really what's the latest in IP. So yeah, it's there are several options. A lot of law firms will actually have internal education sessions as well, which I think is quite important. In my firm, for example, we have every Tuesday we have 1 hour of educational sessions to be sure that everybody is up to date.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.